The third leg of the Triple Crown looks ever so slightly different this year in 2024. The Belmont Stakes is still that third running of the Triple Crown in horse racing, but the track not at Belmont Park out on Long Island, upstate New York, Saratoga is where we will have this third leg of the Triple Crown this year. So to preview everything you need to know, the field, the horses, the thoroughbreds, and what this track looks like, our guy Dubsie Anderson is here on this Friday, bright and early out in the FanDuel TV headquarters on the West Coast, but to get you set for the third leg of the Triple Crown, the 2024 Belmont Stakes. Dubsie, as always, we appreciate the time.
Happy Friday, boys. The third jewel of the Triple Crown, the oldest of the three classics. And as you highlighted there, Ben, looks a little differently this year. Instead of Belmont Park, we will race the Belmont at Saratoga. So what does that mean? Well, it's going to be ran at a shorter distance. For a mile and a half, we go back to a mile and a quarter, the same distance of the Kentucky Derby. And we've got a couple of superstars in the sport. Mystik Dan will be back in this field after that big win at Churchill Downs, and Seize the Grey, who captured the day at the Preakness. So the third jewel of the Triple Crown with those two heavy hitters and a couple of fresh faces certainly looks to be one of the most competitive additions that we've seen in the last couple of years.
As we all know, Seize the Grey, winning the second leg of the Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes, not all that long ago. So, Dubsy, you mentioned the distance and the change from what would normally be the longest race at Belmont Park, now at Saratoga, looking similar to what we saw at Churchill Downs. Are there any differences in the track outside of the distance from what we're used to out on Long Island?
Yeah, so I guess with a smaller field and a longer stretch to get things underway, it really gives all of these runners a great shot at it. You know, we've got 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby. We've only got 10 runners going in for this one. So I really do think any horse from that starting gate has a realistic shot of taking out this big score. And look, the public are going to be very invested in the big names, the big favorites that have come out of those first two classics. So I think this is a great race and a great betting opportunity to maybe target a bit of a price. You know, the Derby, the Preakness, and here at the Belmont, these are the 3-year-olds. They've only got this one season once. So for some runners, have we seen their top gear already? Could we see a couple of starters? Mindframe from the outside only has the 2 career starts. But you look at the speed figs, has a lot of upside. So it should be a fantastic one. Saturday afternoon, we are expecting a bit of weather, 86% chance there of a couple of showers. So we're looking for horses who certainly got that pedigree to get it done on the off track.
Dubs, when we take a look at this race, because the reason why we don't get a Triple Crown winner every single year because of how hard it is to run all 3 of those races in that short of a time frame. So for the people that don't know out there, are there a couple horses here that have run all 3? And also, are there any plant horses here in the Belmont that maybe they're just surfacing now as their first run in the Triple Crown series?
Yeah, I think the outside runner is certainly one to watch. The 10 Mindframe only has the 2 starts, and the speed figs, absolutely monster from what we have seen, especially there breaking that maiden. We'll see Mystik Dan, who won the Kentucky Derby, and the question mark for Mystik Dan was to roll it back 2 weeks into the Preakness. Showed up to the Preakness, a very game runner-up performance. I think there could be a bit of a bounce looming here for Mystik Dan. It's a lot to ask of a 3-year-old to keep going, you know, a couple of weeks back in such a big effort, and I do think there could be a bit of a pace early in this one. So Mystik Dan, your Kentucky Derby champion, I think is absolutely going to be up against it. Sierra Leone, your morning line favorite there. Now, Sierra Leone, I think, gets a really good setup and could be arguably the most talented 3-year-old of the bunch. A runner-up there in the Derby, Flavien Prat gets the ride. So we've got a new rider aboard Sierra Leone, the 9. So no surprises here. It's a home game for Chad Brown. And if we do see another step forward, a bit more progression, Sierra Leone could be very tough trying to mow down.
Sierra Leone, the favorite right now at that 9-5 number that Dubs just referenced. He lost out to Mystik Dan at the Kentucky Derby in the closest ever finish we have seen at the Run for the Roses. But Dubsy, so far in the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, it really hasn't been that betting favorite that has paced the field. So as you look at these 10 horses that will run the 2024 Belmont Stakes, what is your best bet, whether it be a straight wager or maybe one of those exotics to finish out the third leg of the Triple Crown?
I'm looking towards the 2, Resilience, listed there at 10-1 on the board, plus 1,000. You can already get these numbers over at the FanDuel Sportsbook with the advanced wagering. It's been boom or bust. A winner of the Grade 2, the Wood Memorial, showed up to the Kentucky Derby, really didn't get a favorable trip. So I don't think we have seen the top gear, the top level here for the two Resilience, and we're still getting a massive price. A lot of bettors who play the ponies, they'll really jump in and target the classics. And of course, your Kentucky Derby winner will see a lot of attention. Seize the Grey, who won the Preakness, will also get a couple of dollars thrown on it at the window. So I think the two Resilience, after making a very bold move in the Kentucky Derby, flattened out a little late in that one with a better extra fitness. The morning works looked very sharp here for Belmont and the team. I think this colt, the two Resilience, is getting set to run at a very big price.
If we take a look at this race heading into here, and again, it's not at Belmont. It is moved over to Saratoga Springs. 50,000 fans were capped out. And this is different because we see almost twice the amount of fans at the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. From you being a true horse racing fan here, how does the approach change? Is it different for the horses or the trainers, or you shouldn't worry about that atmosphere at all? These horses just run the race they're supposed to run.
Yeah, I think we can sort of put a bit more weight on the horses that have gone through a couple of the bigger races. Just having that experience race in front of a lot of people. These are younger horses, and you get out there to the track in front of 50, 60, 70,000. At that point, they don't know the difference between 20,000, 40,000, but it's noisy. There's that crowd environment, and just going into the starting gate for a lot of them who don't have that experience. I think Mindframe, the 10, could be the buzz horse, the bit of a price play for a lot of the handicappers. That would be the question mark for me. Just having those two starts with the monster speed figures to go with, lightly raced there on the experience front. Maybe that could be the knock towards the outside run, the 10 Mindframe. But you certainly want to see that they've either gone into the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness. I think that's why the two Resilience stands out for me as a bit of a price play. Just having that experience and already showing up and giving us a big performance on a big stage such as that.
Maybe the crowd cap at Saratoga doesn't make all that much different for the atmosphere for the horses, but it does mean less alcohol consumption because let me tell you, Belmont Park for the Belmont Stakes, the place Donnie Rightside would never want to go. Dubsie Anderson, we appreciate it always. Enjoy the third leg of the Triple Crown tomorrow. Thanks for being here.